Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. Today, I have a special guest on the episode with me. So welcome, Laura.
Hello, John. It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great you're here and we're privileged to have you on as well. So I'm going to really look forward to our conversation today. So thanks again. I know
Thank
we're
you.
opposite times of the world. You're in Australia, I'm in UK, but that's the beauty of this podcast, getting to speak with so many people internationally. So I'll just do a quick introduction to Laura and then she can go into her story a little bit more. So Laura helps aspiring entrepreneurs living abroad get clear on their purpose and build a business around it. So that's awesome, Laura. And I know you've traveled quite a distance from your original uh, home. So tell us a little bit about your story and what got you to doing what you're doing now.
Thank you, Johnny. I'm not sure where to start. It's a really long story. But I think the massive breakthrough that I had when I started doing what I do was in 2019. So that year was the year that my life broke into pieces, basically. I was here in Australia and my visa to stay in the country got rejected. So obviously I lost the job that I had. It was a really good job. I really loved it. And also I had to obviously say goodbye to my family that I had here. Well, my family are my friends here and also my partner. And then 2 weeks after, so when I received the notice of like, you have 30 days to leave the country, I find out that my mom passed away back in Spain. So there were like many things in 2 weeks in 2019. So obviously I had to go back to Spain, organize the funeral. And I haven't been in Spain living there for since I left in 2011. So it has been 11 years, but back then it had been 8 to 9 years. So to me, Spain wasn't home. It wasn't a place where I wanted to go and settle back. So that was like my journey of self-discovery of what is important for me and what do I want to do in my life now that one of my family members has passed away. I don't have my partner, I don't have my job, I don't have a country. What do I want to do in this time that I have, in Earth, basically? So that's when I started really discovering what was important for me and healing as well. And then I got into the path, obviously helping other, which I started with a blog that I had, a travel blog where I would share my tips and what I have learned living in other countries, but never started with coaching until I realized that that was the way to make a bigger impact. So that's when I found coaching and I started, getting certified. And I started coaching people that are living abroad just in their life, like just like life coaching in general. But I could see a pattern within them. And the pattern was like they were quite lost in their country they were living. They didn't really enjoy what they were doing as a job. And that was affecting their life massively. And they didn't have a purpose. They didn't have a reason to be there. So they kind of lost themselves and they didn't want to go back home either. So they were in that area where I felt as well when what happened to me in 2019. So that's why I started to specialize in purpose, because it's something that I found myself during that year of chaos where I didn't know what to do. And then also aspiring entrepreneurs, because that was me in the past. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I know the freedom that gives you working for yourself and building something around your purpose that can impact the world. So that's how my niche came along. I was coaching myself in the past.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, it's often the case we look back at ourselves and see where we are like a couple of years ago in the journey to kind of see how we can help other people. So when you kind of like work with people, obviously you mentioned being a purpose coach and helping
Yeah.
people really discover that. What do you think are some of the challenges with people finding their purpose?
The challenges are they are not aware of themselves. Like many people don't even know how they are. They don't know themselves. They think that they know themselves, but they really are reflecting what they think other people think of themselves. I don't know if you have heard this quote that I love. I don't know who wrote it. I know who I think I am. I know who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am.
Yeah. I don't know who that was either, but I do remember it.
Oh, I
Some
love that quote.
Eckhart Tolle kind of thing, I reckon,
I,
but
I
maybe,
love that quote.
yeah.
But yeah, so this is what is happening. Like many people think that they are who they think other people are, but they really don't know themselves. So it's really hard to know what is your purpose if you don't know yourself. You don't know what you're passionate about. You don't know your value. You don't know your skills, your knowledge, or your unique talents. I think that that's a big struggle as well with the clients I have worked with. Is like they don't think that they are unique. They don't have anything to bring to other people.
Yeah, yeah, the kind of like the self-awareness and not really thinking about it. And do you think do you think a lot of the reasons is because people are just like busy, day to day, just going through life. They don't really find that time for reflection. Do you find that's one of the challenges?
Yeah, for sure. Like they go on with their day and their life, and they claim that they don't have time. But when I start working with the clients, they always say, "Oh, you just don't have time." That's what is stopping me from starting my business or finding my purpose. And then they realize that they do have the time, but they are not making it a priority. So yeah, definitely, I think that's one of the reasons they are like too rapid in their routine, in their life of like going to work and coming, cooking, watching TV, Netflix, whatever, and just going to bed, and on the weekends having that social life. So they forget about the fact that and they are not happy with their job and they want to do something meaningful. And then Monday starts and they go again and again and again in the same cycle.
Yeah, and being totally, not necessarily being finding the time to be conscious of what they want and actually the patterns and the behaviors they're repeating. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Love what you said about time as well, because that's a frequent. That's I've just been ranting about that on Instagram and live. I've just been interviewed on actually, but the one of the biggest lies ever. I don't have time. That most
Yeah.
people use because yeah, like one of our mentor, Rob, says, like everyone's got 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. It's just how you use the word priority there. I love that.
Yeah.
Love saying that. So obviously we've all got different priorities, but it depends what you make a priority in it. Looking at the time we spend on our phones, etc., you can always find some more time out of that. It's just
Yeah, for sure.
conscious to what we've been looking at.
Mm,
So yeah, thanks for your point on that one.
that's all right.
On the time thing. So in terms of like when someone's like stuck on their purpose and trying to look for it, and you said it's often the self-awareness, they've not found that time as the kind of the first 2 points to actually reflect on it. How would you begin to get someone perhaps who might be listening to, what do you invite them to do to start actually discovering their purpose a little bit more?
Journaling. Journaling is like
Definitely.
the best tool ever. It has helped me so much throughout the years to get to know myself and to heal as well. I think just hearing your own voice is really important. If you don't like to write, then I would just suggest to reflect, to just take 10 minutes a day to just be in silent and hear your thoughts. But when you put it down on paper, is easier to make sense of it. So just asking yourself, how are you feeling today? What is in your mind? Like something as simple as that can give you an idea of what is happening and why are you feeling the way that you're feeling. Some people don't know how to process their emotions because they don't understand them. So
Yeah.
I think the first step to find your purpose will be being self-aware. And then after being self-aware of who you are as a person, then you start digging into your passions. Like, what are you passionate about? What makes you happy? Anything that makes you happy. And then you explore your knowledge, your skills, everything that you have learned in your professional life or just in your life as general, what have you learned? What lessons do you have? And then also your unique talents. So unique talents is something that comes easy to you, that maybe doesn't come easy for others. It's something that people would ask you for advice for, because they know that you have some kind of knowledge or some kind of talent. I used to think that only artists, they had a special talent, that if you were a musician, or if you were, you know, a singer, that was like a talent and that you had. And it is a talent, but we all have unique talents, and maybe it's not in an artistic way, but it's in different ways. Like I have been always love to like talk to people, like it's something that I have really enjoyed, and not many people enjoy always like talking to people or listening to people or giving advice or leading others, right? So that would be my unique talent, and it's not in an artistic form, but it's still a talent, right? So yeah, like tapping into those, and then tapping into a cause that costs you pain. I think the word pain is really important. If you have a mission that it's painful for you and you want to make a difference, you will work harder for it, because you want to make that difference. So to me, my pain was like seeing so many people that are no English native speakers live in another country and just stay at the bottom, like arrive into a country and getting obviously a job to get by at the beginning, and then just getting stuck there, and they really don't enjoy their job. But they feel like they cannot do anything else, and they have that insecurity within them. Maybe they want to start a business, but they don't feel that they can. So to me, that caused me pain. It caused me pain that non-English native speakers living abroad, they get to have the lowest jobs and not live up to their full potential when they could. And they have a special talent that they can bring to the world. I feel pain towards that. And my mission every day is to help as many people as I can to realize that no matter what language you speak, or no matter what country you're coming from, you have something special within you that you can bring to this world.
Love it, love it. Love what you said about a combination of your passion, looking at your unique talents, things you're very strong about helping people with their pain, or perhaps some of the pains you've gone through that you can relate to people and help them through as well. So some very, very key ones as well. So in terms of people who perhaps are just a little bit overthinking and like, oh, you know, I've just got to find the right thing, and they get so paralyzed by overthinking and they don't do anything. What advice would you give to them?
I would say start with something. Just start with something. I think when people get paralyzed, is because they think that they are committing all their life to something.
Yeah,
they feel like they are getting married to whatever they want to do, to a job, to a cause, to a mission, to whatever it is, or even to a person, right? If you're in a relationship. And I think it's like you are just like getting to know yourself, and you will discover more things as you go. And as I was explaining, I started with a life coaching, and I just wanted to help people. And I have gone through a lot of challenges myself. So I thought, well, I think the reason for me having gone through all these challenges is to have more empathy, so I could help people. And that's how I started. And then it went to like purpose coaching. And I love what I do, but it didn't start like that. It started like way broader. And then it went like making more sense. The more clients that I was having, the more sense that it made for me to like go to purpose. So I would say start with something. Don't overthinking. You are not committing all your life to something. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep doing it. But if you don't try it, you won't really figure it out. Like I wouldn't have figured out if I wouldn't have started coaching, that I wanted to do purpose coaching for people living abroad that want to be entrepreneurs. Right. Yeah. So you need to start somewhere.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. And one thing I think obviously the world quite a lot of us want certainty out of things. And to be honest, what you said is in line with that, because you don't have to be committed to it for the rest of your life. You don't have to be certain that's the thing. And there is no certainty in life apart from the certainty you can have in yourself. And obviously you're born, and then obviously someday, unfortunately we leave the planet. But like anything else is not certain, we can do something, we can change, we can choose to change at any moment. And I'm glad you brought up the point that you don't have to be, married to the thing life that you've picked or anything like that. So I think a kind of quote I heard was clarity comes through movement, and that really made a big impact on me as well, because you kind of do that, and a lot of us are afraid to make mistakes or it not to work out. But I'm excited by that now. I'm in this stage, and I'm sure it's kind of, it sounds to me that you started off as this life coach, now you become a purpose coach. You might discover something else in future. I might discover something else in future, but you don't get to that point unless you move. You do not move if you overthink it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that reflection as well. And like coaching to me is the way to serve my mission, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna do coaching all my life as well. So I think once that you know your mission, what you're doing, how you're doing it will change, right?
Yeah.
Like you are serving your mission with your podcast besides coaching. That's the way that you are like helping people. So that could change, but if you feel strongly about helping a cause, you will find a way to do it regardless, right? If you cannot do it, like, for example, after everything that has happened with COVID, like you could have a mission in your job, like working for someone else, but maybe after COVID, you have realized that you want to keep serving that mission on your own and you want to start your own business, and you could do coaching or you could do something else. But it's just about helping the cause. That's the purpose. Like, how can you help the cause with your strength, with your skills, with your talents? And maybe it's in the form of coaching, and maybe it's in the form of public speaking or podcasting, whatever it is. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's another valuable point of you can serve in many different ways, and again, we're all different. Some of us, like in coaching, for example, some of us really love one-to-one. Some of us like being in big groups. Some of us like doing crazy stuff, like doing podcasts every week to a load of people. And some of us like a combination of all of them as well. So the methods you choose, and we all like different ways, and you don't have to be set on something. So I think that's a really, really good point. My next kind of point was, obviously as an entrepreneur, it can be a little bit lonely sometimes, depending on your background and where you are. And obviously you've been abroad, moved to a new country, and you've traveled around and things like that. How important is getting the right community around you, whether that's online or offline?
Oh, so important. So important. It has definitely taken a big part in my journey. If I didn't have the community that I have, it would have been harder. I wouldn't have given up, because it's my mission, it's my purpose. Like, I don't even consider giving up. Many people tell me, oh my God, it's amazing that you never gave up until you made it. It was like, there is no option. That's my purpose. That's my mission. That's what I'm doing. But obviously there is a lot of doubt during the way that you're doing it, and having that community of people that also are struggling with the same thing, and or have struggled in the past, so they can actually help you to overcome it, has been really powerful. To have a group of people that really understands you, and sometimes you don't get that with your family and friends. And unfortunately, I don't get with all my family and friends. They are no entrepreneurs, so they cannot understand it, like my work ethic or my worries. They just wouldn't understand it. So having that people that you can relate to, that neo family that helps you with your mission, is the most powerful thing that you can ever do. So yeah, I would definitely recommend anyone that is starting something new just to find a community online. Like, it doesn't have to be in person, unfortunately. Because of COVID, many events and many meetups, they are canceled. So I would do it online. That's how I did it, and that's how I connected with you and in the community of coaches. And I'm really grateful. And I find new communities every day that will help me to thrive and to reach my full potential, because you need to be around people that have overcome your current challenges to inspire you to keep going, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And well said in that respect. So you mentioned earlier, obviously people sometimes don't have a belief about themselves. And obviously we've just talked about the power of community and having like-minded. I'm very similar to you. I've not necessarily got a family I've got very lovely and amazing family. I'm very fortunate, but not necessarily got that. I haven't worked in the entrepreneur space, like you just said. And many of my friends haven't been in that space, even though they're great people, they're very supportive people, but not necessarily in that space. And having the right people around affects you. But obviously that the people around you can impact your self-confidence and belief in yourself. But that's do you find that's often something people are lacking when you start working with them, that self-confidence in themselves?
Yeah, 100%, especially when you are doing something new that you haven't done before. You question yourself if you can really do it. And that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in, right? And something that I had to work on, and I still work on. Like sometimes, every time that I get out of my comfort zone, then you hear that voice like, oh, can you really do it? Is this really gonna work out? And that's why you need to do a lot of work on yourself. Like, I dedicate a lot of time to journaling, meditation, exercise, everything to feel good with myself, to have that awareness, and to also have that confidence on myself that I can do it.
Yeah, no, I love what some of those things you said, to really find that dedication for you. And obviously that, like you said, meditation, exercise, journaling, and whatever it is that makes you feel good, making sure that's in to kind of build that relationship with yourself. And there's always time for the priorities. So I like the way you make them a priority for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, that's great. And is there anything you recommend to people you start off with to build their self-confidence, or would it be some of those things that you've said?
Well, obviously, I would say work on yourself, because the better that you feel with yourself, the better that you're going to show up. And that's the important thing, right? You're going to show up. If you don't sleep well, how are you going to show up to work and you're going to deliver? Well, I would say the first thing is that, and then also just practice, just like try to do it and do it as many times as you can to develop that skill. Like, not everyone is born like with massive skills. Yeah, you will have some skills. Like I started with like some people skills that I developed in my professional life, but I didn't know anything about coaching. So I had to start studying for it. So I started in the certification of coaching, and also doing the practice hours with clients and developing these skills that will help me to become better and to be more confident. That's how you build it. It's a muscle. So you need to like put yourself out there, practice until you get better at it. And then just know that you are never gonna stop learning. Like, I don't stop learning. Like, every day when I have a coaching session, after every coaching session, I take notes. And I take the notes that what can I do better? What have I done that I shouldn't done, or I could have done in a better way, and what would I do in the next session? I'm still reflecting on that. I'm still reading. I'm still like watching videos of like coaching demos. Like, I'm still work in progress, and that will never end. And I don't want it to end, because how are you going to reach your full potential if you think that you have already reached it? No, doesn't work.
Absolutely, yeah. I always ask myself, what went awesome and what would have made it even more awesome. So I just
that's good. That's good. That's good.
so
I'm gonna steal that question.
pre-frame it in a way that I'm doing an awesome job, but also that I could improve and what could improve within it.
Yeah.
But I like the power of the words, so that's something I learned off one of my mentors. But love it. We're always growing, and always challenges are going to come up in any of us. And there's a myth that confident people have zero fears, which is a complete lie, because everyone has fears, right? And we're always going to face it, especially the more we grow. The more you come out of your comfort zone, the more you're going to face those kind of challenges. So that's why it's important that, people like you are a great example of journaling, meditating before you go into your day, so you can be the best you can be for yourself, but for other people, you're helping ultimately throughout the day. So it's awesome. So kind of like a couple more questions, really. My next one, I'm very, very strong about. What would you say to someone about the power in investing in themselves?
Power of investing in yourself is like taking the shortcut. To me, is like taking the quickest road to where you want to get. So it's really, really important, because you can save yourself years of self-doubt and overwhelm, and potentially feeling like you want to give up because you feel lonely, you feel like no one understands you, and you feel like you don't know the way, to get there. To me, no, investing in yourself is like trying to get to an address in Google Maps without really putting the address there. So you are taking
I
all the
love it.
road.
Love that.
Yeah, so Google Maps
Analogy.
doesn't give you the best route. You don't know the best route. You know the dot that is somewhere there where you want to get, but you don't know the road. So you have to take every single road until you get to the destination, which is crazy. So investing in yourself would be just having that address entered in Google Maps, and you know the road, you know what is the fastest road, you know if there are tolls or no, if there is traffic and you're gonna have to wait. You know exactly the route, and that's what it did for me. Like, it is crazy that when I started like really looking for my purpose, I found it in a few months. There are people like still working on it, and they could be in their 60s or 70s, and they haven't figured out yet what is their purpose, what do they really want to do, why are they here for. And I found it in 3 months. So to me, it's like crazy how powerful was investing in myself. And I still do, right? Like, I still have business coaches, I still have mentors, I still have life coach, I still have a fitness coach. So they really helped me to get where what I want to get. So to me, yeah, it is a shortcut. It is the route to get to your destination, and also to do it more at ease, not so overwhelmed, stress about it, because you are taking every single road, and none of those roads seems to lead you to your destination.
Yeah, love that. Love that about the shortcut. I always like to touch on that question because I'm very driven about it. That it's not just money; it's time and energy as well that we're investing in. We invest into ourselves, but often we spend our money on stupid things like like clothes we don't need, or items we don't need, or things that really don't serve us, but we just get there and we're not conscious to it. But when it comes to investing in ourselves to really find what's going to light us up, or get to where we want to go to, and make a commitment to ourselves, we're like quick to dismiss it. So that's why I'm very strong about it, and it builds a good relationship with yourself as well. I don't know if you feel this, but it's like almost saying to your subconscious that I'm worth this, like
Yeah.
by putting that into yourself. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah,
Well.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's cool. Yeah, for me it is, rather than letting fear get in the way and seeing it as a number. Obviously it's got to be viable, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about the shortcut as well, because that's a very, very valid point as well.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. So before we sort of like wrap up, and then obviously link people to where they can find more of you, because you've got a huge amount more you could share and offer people. Are there any kind of like final points that you'd like to share with us today?
Yes, of course. Well, I guess in terms of the purpose, like anyone that is out there and would like to find some meaning in their life, I just want to say that I help aspiring entrepreneurs, but you don't have to be an entrepreneur to live your purpose. Like you can do it working for someone else. You can do it right now. You can live on purpose by living every day of saying, how can I help others with what I know best? It's something as simple as just being maybe in an office and having someone that you work with that is struggling with something and that you could do, you could do better because you have those skills and you have those talents. And it's just like helping that person overcome that problem. So I think like anyone could live on purpose without having like that massive mission of like, maybe you are not going to cure cancer, or maybe you're not going to stop this pandemic, but there is something that you could do and it matters. As little as you think it might be, it matters what you do today. So just like being on purpose just means like, how can I serve others with what I have? So that would be my final point, because I think we all have a mission and we all can make this place a better place to live. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Brilliant. Yeah, a great final share there, Laura. So brilliant stuff. And I've really enjoyed our conversation today. So if people want to find more about you or your work, contact you, reach out, where's the best place for people to find you?
I would say Instagram is my place. I'm there every day sharing value. And so please go and follow me to Long Gone Laura, and then we can connect there and you can, consume all my free content. And if you would like to hear more about what I do, then we can schedule a call.
Awesome. Long Gone Laura. So we'll put that in the description below as well, the link to it, so people can directly get to your Instagram as well. So once again, Laura, a massive thank you for coming on the show today and sharing such value. We appreciate you for being here.
Oh, thank you. It was so fun to be here. And thank you for the opportunity and to share my story with you.
Fantastic. Cool. So that concludes our episode today. But remember, work on your self-confidence every single day.